Hello, everyone. Here are my random thoughts after rereading Toll the Hounds, Book 8 in the Malazan Book of the Fallen by Stephen Erickson. Now, this book, after the first reread, this was one of my least favorite books of the Malazan books, that is. I think I ranked it number 8 amongst the Book of the Fallen. Uh, Not that it matters, I just like to rank things. Anyway, as with all of the other books, with one exception actually. Anyway, as with most of the books, I enjoyed Toll the Hounds a great deal more on a reread. The only storyline that I still find a bit boring is Rake and Endest Silan and the endless brewing of the Taistandi. Um, But to my surprise, I actually enjoyed a lot of Anderist's storyline this time around. Finally felt I kind of started to get a feel of where his arc was heading. Um, I did also enjoy kind of these horror-filled adventures that the traveling Andy found themselves in, kind of Stephen King vibes. I still don't. I still don't get Clip, but I probably never will. What else? Traveler finally got interesting. He should be a super interesting character. I never found him that interesting until now on the second read of book number 8. Well, anyway, all he needed was this ruthless barbarian to bond with. There is a really interesting scene where we watch from a distance as Shadow Throne and Cotillion speaks to him. This is at the very end of the book. Um, so Shadow Throne and Cotillion speaks to him. We as a reader do not get to share that conversation. We only see it from a distance. And Traveler has a bit of a breakdown. And I heard an interpretation of that scene, probably in the 10 Very Big Book podcasts, where they argued that this was due to Traveler realizing that he would have to face Rake. And I don't agree. I think, well, I agree it could be either way, we don't know. But I read it as Traveler getting word of Hood's death. And I think his reaction was due to being cheated on this decades long quest for revenge. And, he was so close. Um, well, that's my theory, at least. I And there's so many small moments in between the epic stuff that is just brilliant. Barathol trying to set up shop, the Malazans running an inn. And I'm not one to ship characters when I read, but Picker and Blend, I ship them from Memories of Ice. Not that it's needed, they ship themselves just fine without me. And from my first read, I had someone gotten it into my tiny little mind that Picker never woke up from her coma. So man, was I happy to see her back at the end. All the scenes with Chalice, her husband, and his fellow, whatever they were, was the claustrophobic feeling of it all. Speaking of grumpy loners looking for a fight, I loved the time we got to spend with Calor. Have a look in his head. Such a discrepancy between this Calor versus the one that randomly popped up and off the guy in Return of the Crimson Guard. We have the Duel of the Mules. I had forgotten what it was actually about. Not that it mattered. This was just inevitable from page 1 of Gardens of the Moon. Speaking of stubborn and slow animals, that ox really stole that chapter, didn't it? As for Murillo's demise, I had a weirdly hard time reading about his final duel, maybe because I knew where it was going. It was one of those characters where I didn't realize I'd started to care about him. And then we have poor Harlow, and as a parent, at this point, my twins are about his age. Ugh. So even though it's such a damn good written story, or rather, because it's a so damn good written story, Harlow's storyline, it was always hard to get through. And the final scene with Harlow confronting his biological mother, yeah, hard not to get emotional. It's so beautiful. I'm sure there's so much more to say, but I'm gonna leave it there. Uh, once I get Once again, reading this, I got this feeling like, why do I bother to read anything else when I just could read these books over and over? And I won't. Don't worry, but I feel as if I could. Please note that no mules were killed in the making of this video or in the writing of this book. I'll see you in the next one.